Yo guys, what up? So in this video, I'm going to basically walk through how Cryptomattes are set up inside of Octane and how to export these Cryptomatte paths and use them in DaVinci Resolve. The same workflow will also work for Nuke or anything like that. This is a quick short video from a member inside of my community who is having this issue, so I made this video for them and I'm sharing it out with you guys. If you guys are interested in going deeper with Blender Octane or you're looking for one-on-one help, take a look, 7-day free trial to the link down below to my community. Enough of my jibber jabber, let's get into the video. All right, so we're going to break down Cryptomattes and how to do Cryptomatte passes here. So this is my AOV setup here. I just got all my default beauty passes and a few extra info passes. So what I'm going to do is click in here and I'm going to go to AOV, and then I'm going to go into search here, and there it is, Cryptomatte AOV. Again, this is as of Octane 2026.4. And if you notice here, we've got this one single node. And if we open this up here, we've got a couple of categories here. Here's our enable switch just to turn it on and off. And then here is the different types of passes we've got. We've got stable material node name, stable material pin name, stable object node name, stable object pin name, stable geometry node name, stable render layer, stable user instance ID, unstable material layer, unstable object node, and unstable instance. Now, you notice your first question you may ask is, what is the difference between stable and unstable? So stable means anytime you use any of these, our Cryptomatte color will stay the same. For example, if I'm doing a render and maybe I stop the render halfway through and then I want to continue the render later if it's an animation, well, if you're using unstable, it will change the color of your nodes of your mask. So let's just quickly set this up visually so we can see here. I'm going to go into the AOV passes so we can see this here. I'm going to go to the Cryptomatte node. And right now we're seeing it stable material name node. So let's also break down these nodes here. I have this quick little handy thing here. It's going to help. So here we have the material pen, object, and geometry. So the basic one that most people want to use is basically use object name node, most popular for most compositing, isolating individual objects. So what that basically means is it's going to go off of the name of your objects. Any object that has their names, these will be each individually have their own crypto color. Even the lights when I bring it into Octane, into DaVinci. So everything by name will have its own. Okay, now you do notice here that these guys are all have the same here, because this was an instance object here. So let's also change this here. Let's go to material pin name now. We go by material pin name, go select that here. Here we're going by material pin name. Now material pin name would be, let me see which one it was. Right here, object pin name, grouped by geometry inputs, specifically linked to geometry mesh. Okay. Then we also have object node name. Let's go here, select that, Cryptomatte, object node name. Now we're looking at everything by name. This is the actual one that you want to use for most. It's going by everything by object name. Now you notice here all of my markers, even though they're instance, they all have their own color because they all have a different name. But if you look at our Lego house, it's all one mask. And that's because it has one name. Okay, let's go back to the material. Which one was it? Material node name. Let me go back to that one really quick. Material node name. Now, if we look at material node name, you notice we do have some differences between the Lego house and the blocks here. Again, the material node name is grouping by materials. So by material name, so anything that has the same material name, all gold parts would have all gold parts. So if we go back to our little house here and let's go ahead and click on back to our shader editor. And if I click on our house here, we're probably going to have a different bunch of materials here. You can see we got all these different materials. So any one of these materials that has the same name is going to get the same thing. So obviously this little material here, if I go to my material picker, which is this one here, material picker, I can select on that. Shaker white, right? If I go to my material picker, shaker green. So now it's selecting, it's giving anything by color. Okay, so that's material node name. Let's go back to our AOVs, and then let's go to the next one, which was object node name. Did I do that one? I think it's the next one here. Object pin name. Object pin name. Object pin name. Now things get a little bit different. We've got it like kind of just the overall geometry. And if we come to object pin name groups by geometry import, specifically linking geometry mesh. Okay, that's that option there. Then if we come down here again to stable geometry node name, there's geometry node name, kind of very similar. Geometry node name stable groups by internal data, differentiates the underlying data instances. Okay. Then we come down here, we've got stable rendered layers. Let's go ahead and pop that open. Render layers. Now you notice everything went white. Why? Render layers. Let's go to render layers stable. Groups by custom IDs, manually assigning number IDs. ID 1, ID 2, ID several. So how do we change the ID number? So what we do is, let's go ahead and quickly change this back to my AOV output so we can see. I'm going to go ahead and select this marker here. And if we come to this marker, we go to the data properties, go to the object, or scroll down here, render layer IDs. I'm going to change this to 2. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this next marker and I'm going to change it to 3. And I'll grab this next marker and change it to 4. And I'm going to grab the ground plane, change it to 5. All right, so we've got 5 different things have different object layers. So now if we come back over here to our passes and we go back to our crypto render layer, now you see the difference. These all have the different assigned colors. Okay, we'll click on this building here. Let's click on this building. And let's maybe even change this one from 1 to 6. There it is. So you basically can assign it whatever number you want here using this value here, and that will separate your IDs. How if you wanted to do custom render layer IDs, this one's also probably one of the most simplest ways to understand it. Then we also have user instanced IDs. All right, so I set up a quick scattering system here. I have a bunch of trees scattered on here. And again, if we go into stable user instance ID, select user instance ID, now you can see all of the particles have all the scattered objects have their own cryptomattes. User instant ID groups picking individuals out of large like particles. So if you're doing any type of scattering using the Octane scattering system, this will come in, and this is where you'll be able to start selecting those individual IDs that you're using in the scattering system here. Okay, so that's quickly in a nutshell all of these. Now I wanted to go back to stable and unstable to tell you guys the difference here. So for example, if we come here and I'm going to select let's just do a normal material node, right, in unstable. Here's our unstable material node. Take note of the colors. Look at the markers. They're all purple. If I turn the render engine off and turn it back on, remember these were purple. These were purple. Now they're pink, right? Again, if we turn it back on, turn it back off, it's changing every single time. So if you were doing a render, you're rendering an animation, anytime you turn this off and you turn it back on, it's going to break your Cryptomatte pack because it's going to change the color. Again, unstable. They're not keeping the exact same color. So that's why these are here. Now, stable, if we go back to material, let's just go back to material node name. Load that up, material node name. Anytime I turn it off, again, take note of the colors. This is the pink. We got light pink and we got the fuchsia there. Turn that off. The background was blue. This should stay the exact same. boom, it's going to stay the exact same. So if I'm doing a render, I stop the render, I come back tomorrow, continue the render, my Cryptomatte pass won't break. It will be stable. Now, this also does, using this Cryptomatte, this also does account for depth of field, anti-aliasing, motion blur. This does work for that. If you use the older version, which was the, for example, if you come in here, object, if you were to use one of these here, this older version, this does not keep that in to play. It doesn't take that into account. Let me plug this in here. We're going to view this. Which one is it? Did I just add it in here? Hang on. Object ID. You would think, oh, this is what I need. This is perfect. But let me quickly do a quick render so we can see this on the back end and see what it looks like in DaVinci Resolve. Now, even after I render this, if we go to our object IDs, here is our object ID, right? And then here is our Cryptomatte. Look at the difference on the edging here. Look at that, right? Nice and smooth. It takes account for the anti-aliasing, where this one, it does, but yeah, not so much. You can see it's broken up here. But let's take a look in DaVinci Resolve. So in DaVinci Resolve, I'm going to drag that image into the viewport here. Again, it's an EXR linear multi-pass. Jump into the compositor here. Let's go ahead and how will we use the Cryptomatte pass, right? Well, inside of DaVinci, we're going to come in here and we have a Cryptomatte right here, a Cryptomatte node. Now this node only reads Cryptomattes, right? And you can't just plug this into this chain here. It's not going to work like that. So we take our node, our map here. I'm going to plug it in. And right off the back, it turns red using the ID. It doesn't recognize these IDs, these render IDs. It does not recognize those. There it is. Okay. So we did by name on this one. I forgot to change it. RGB, there it is, red, green, and blue. And then one more alpha, red, green, and blue, and alpha. All right. Now we can see our pass. There it is. Okay. Now let's go ahead and plug this into here. And there's our output. We're seeing the output from out of this here. Now with our Cryptomatte pass, this one's only showing the Cryptomatte pass. Let me copy here, paste this back to the beauty. We'll place the beauty here, setting this back. Okay, there's our regular render. Again, we're not seeing the proper color space. I can just easily come over here and change that into linear to Rec 709. So there it is. Now we're seeing it in the proper color space. Okay, that's what this is viewing. Now this is viewing our render, our Cryptomatte, which we rendered out. Now with the Cryptomatte thing selected here, this is the Cryptomatte node. It's already saying, hey, this is a Cryptomatte node by name. Yep, we can look at it by color. We can look at it by edges. We can look at it by beauty, which is, I don't understand that one. And then we can look at it by matte. You notice nothing is selected. We don't have a matte. So we can click this thing here, pick matte name, and it has everything that it made by name. In this case, for the way that we chose it here. So everything here was by material name, okay? Because in Octane, I forgot to switch it back to object, right? See, I had it on stable material node name. So it's by the material and the node name, okay? So that's why I did that. We can easily just change this back to, for example, let's go to object node by name, okay? Object node by name, or better yet, we could just go to the one that we made the render IDs. Let's go ahead and do that one and render that one quickly. All right, so I brought the new node in. Let's go ahead and plug that in. There we can see that. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste this, plug this into the Cryptomatte, bring this up here. We're not seeing anything because we don't have it selected. Let's come back to our passes. All right, there it is. Now we can see our colors and they're ready to go. So now the Cryptomatte is working properly. So what we want to do is we want to be able to select our color passes. Again, we can select here by name and it's going to show us everything that we made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's all of the ones I did. And then if you want, you can select by name. I can go ahead and select 6. And then boom, it's going to select that. Now if I say it's showing it by color, if I go to color, change this to matte, now it's showing the matte, right? So again, I can also just come back by colors and then select the ones that I want. Like, okay, I want that and I want that, right? And then we can go ahead and go back to mattes. Now, let's say if I take this and I wanted to just do some adjustments on color, I can add in a color corrector node, take this color corrector node and plug this Cryptomatte into the mask of the color corrector node, right? Now, if we come over here and you start to tweak it, now you can see that I'm only tweaking the stuff that's in that mask. Also, make sure sometimes if you don't see it working properly, you might need to output the alpha, and then it also will control, because sometimes I've done it before and it didn't do. But this one, because we did render out this alpha, it also, oh, actually, hang on, that one is not. Oh, that's actually nice. It automatically recognized the Cryptomatte passes without even me having to select them. That's interesting. Very nice. I didn't even know that. So yeah, there it is. That's basically how we use it using the Cryptomatte node. Super easy. And again, plug it into the mask, and then that gives me the control to be able to separate things, play with the colors, do whatever you want. Again, if you want to take something out of the mask, go to the Cryptomatte, go to the minus, or you can just go here, delete it from the trash. All right. Or if we go back to our color, go to minus, click on that. Now we should only have just the one marker here. Now you notice, look what's happening here. See, this was turned off, and now we're getting everything being affected. Like, why is it doing that? Why is it doing that? Because now we come to the Cryptomatte node and say, hey, output out the alpha. Boom. Now we have just that one selected. Now I can come back here, change that, do whatever I need to do. So that's how you would do that. Now, in a nutshell, basically one last time here to go over some of these here. This is what I want you guys to remember here. Object node name, basically stable object node name, groups things by the exact name of each object in the scene tree. If you have an object named diamond, it gets its own mask. Material, stable material node name, groups things by their material. Anything in your scene using gold material will be picked together on the same mask, even if it's a separate object. Render layer, stable render layers, groups things by a certain ID number. Type in your ID number, you type in yourself, you manually assign the group number, ID to the objects in there, get that same. That's what we basically just did. I did the ID render layer. Then you have the instances, groups tiny copies like thousands of scattered rocks or particles, so they can be picked single copies out of a crowd. Then you've got material pin, groups specific parts of a single object based on where the materials are assigned to. If you got an object with multiple materials, you can break it down by multiple materials. Geometry node names, stable geometry node names, groups things by the underlying mesh shape data rather than the main object label. And then which ones you should use the stable object name. 90% of the time, it isolates objects cleanly by name without extra data set up. So again, that's probably the most used scenario right there. Use stable material node also when you want to change every piece of a specific material, like all gold parts at the exact same time. So that is in a nutshell how we set up Cryptomatte passes and use them in DaVinci Resolve. All right, so that's how you set up Cryptomattes inside of Octane using 2026, the new version of Blender, the new version of Octane, and it's super convenient and really helpful. So if you guys are looking for more help like this using Octane Blender, links down below. 7-day free trial of my Blender Octane community, and I'll see you guys on the inside. Peace.